Hey there, thank you for trusting us with your incredible questions. I am so impressed with your desire to make small changes and improvements in your life. And your question this week is just so critical. You asked, how do I improve my relationship with my parents? And so without further ado, I want to jump into it and give you the very best that I have and that I've observed over tens of thousands of hours counseling parents and adolescents just like you. Before I give you my tips on how to improve your relationships, though, I want to mention a few things that I think will help you right now and honestly throughout your life. First, your parents are emotional creatures just like you and I. I would love to respond to my kids in the most awesome way all the time, but honestly, sometimes I'm tired, overwhelmed, and stressed, and my best self doesn't show up. As a result, my responses may lack the understanding and empathy that my children would love from me and that I would want from myself. This isn't a justification. This is just personal work that I'm doing to ensure that I can provide an emotionally safe, supportive, encouraging, and respectful place for my kids to grow up in. I hope that your parents are working on this as well, but as you see them struggle in the way that they respond to you, I think if you show them a little patience and a little grace, I think you're going to get more in return. Number two, your parents are still growing up, just like you and I. Learning, growing, and maturing is a lifelong process. Parents don't have it all figured out. In fact, sometimes we're quite lost. Our past, our families, the hurt and trauma that we've been through can sometimes cloud our vision. And as a result, we react out of fear, or we become controlling, or we may appear to be more focused on what you're doing wrong instead of what you're doing right. As you talk with your parents, go about it with this knowledge and understanding in mind. I believe you'll approach things in a more peaceful way, and as a result, you'll get better results. Third, recognize that what your parents want and what you want is not that different, although the way we go about it might be quite different. Let me give you an example. Parents, for example, are usually more focused on 1, making sure you're safe, 2, that you're being responsible, 3, open communication, 4, long-term choices and consequences, and 5, time with family. Adolescents, on the other hand, are often focused on 1, having fun, 2, freedom and doing what they want to do, 3, the desire to have more privacy for what they want to do now, and 5, time with friends. When you hear this list, you can see why sometimes parents and teens have a little bit of a hard time or friction. But here's the truth. There's nothing wrong with what your parents want. And to be perfectly honest, there's nothing wrong with what you want. I want safety, and I absolutely want fun. I know that I need to be responsible and accountable, but man, I love my freedom. I know that it's wise to be open in my communication with people, but I also love and enjoy my privacy. I think you get the idea. My hope is that as you understand what your parents want, you'll be able to communicate with them better. Okay, let me quickly jump to 7 short tips that I think will help your relationship with your parents run a little more smoothly. In fact, these tips will help you to navigate every personal or professional relationship, friendship, or even romantic interest in the most effective way. So listen in, take some notes. Tip number 1, if you want it, give it. And I meet with people that sometimes think that people have to earn their respect, or that wait for others to give them respect first, and then, only then, will they offer that respect back. In my humble opinion, this is not a superior philosophy. Instead, my suggestion is for you to always invite and promote respect, kindness, and understanding by first giving it. This is pretty much like the golden rule, right? Treat others the way that you wish to be treated, instead of what I call the bronze rule, which is to treat others in the way that they're treating you. So if you want a relationship with your parents that is easier, more fun, lighter, and more cheerful, bring that to the relationship, and it'll increase the chances that you'll get it back. Tip number 2, start soft. Man, this is a great skill that has been proven to work across all relationships, particularly if you're having a difficult conversation. Starting soft just means that by starting conversations in a soft, considerable, and respectful tone, you're more likely to get better outcomes. This works because we as humans have a tendency to reflect what is happening in front of us. So when someone is loud, disrespectful, rude, or controlling, our tendency is to reflect what is being now offered, or simply to close our hearts and resist that. I'm sure this has happened to you in your life. So in the future, if you want conversations to start and end in a positive way, remember to start soft. You can do this, by the way. This isn't a skill for some Zen master. It's a skill that you can become aware of, work at, and get really, really good at. Tip number 3, seek first to understand, then to be understood. When you try to understand where your parents are coming from, and others, by the way, you'll get so much better outcomes. Instead of letting the me monster take over your conversations, where it's all about you and what you think and what you want, put the me monster to bed and instead take a moment to find out why things matter to people. I'm telling you, this is a terrific skill that will bless you throughout your entire life. Tip number 4, use your magic words liberally. You know what the magic words are? I'm sure that you do. But just in case you don't, the magic words are please, thank you, and I'm sorry. Some things are just foundational in your relationship. And practicing using please, thank you and I'm sorry more often in your conversations with your parents is a great way to proactively keep your relationships with them awesome. By the way, this skill also works with your teachers, with friends, adults, and everybody else. Tip number 5, spend quality time with parents. Remember that this is one of the things that they desire and want, so give it to them. Whether it's helping with a project or playing a game or helping with chores or going to some event or watching a show together or having breakfast, lunch, or dinner or going to work out with them or supporting your siblings. Honestly, there are endless ways. I'm telling you, give a little bit of yourself and your time to them and you'll get more back. Tip number 6, be a great repairer. Look, you and I know that things won't be perfect all the time, that you're going to disagree, argue, become upset, or feel misunderstood, or even be treated unjustly by your parents. When these moments happen, our hearts feel heavy, our heads overwhelmed and angry, and our home situation feels tense. Be the kind of person that's willing to wave the white flag and make peace. This single skill of learning to repair relationships when they become strained or hurt is straight up divine and intelligent. Be the first one to own your part. Be the first to apologize. Be the first to forgive. It starts with you. And isn't that awesome that it starts with you? Why not be the one that takes the wiser and higher road? Is there a better option? No. Be stellar. By the way, I realize that sometimes relationships are abusive and that you may need to separate from these people in circumstances. But as a general rule, learn to be a peacemaker. And when others apologize to you, be quick to forgive instead of holding on to your bitterness, pettiness, and grudges. Tip number 7, let your parents into your life. Now, this may take a little work and focus on your part, but when your parents ask you about school or work or friends or whatever, take down your guard, share a little, let them into your world a little bit. I know that sometimes this can be a little bit scary, or maybe you just don't feel like sharing at that moment, but if you can muster some courage and open your heart just a little bit, I think this would be a remarkable way of feeding, nurturing a great and friendly relationship with your parents. Along the same lines, ask them about their life as well. All right, 7 tips is a great starting point. There's so many awesome and simple things that you can do that will improve your relationship with your parents. I'm sure you've got your own ideas, and if you've got a good thing going, for heaven's sakes, keep it rocking. Anyways, I hope that this will give you some ideas. Now get out there and be the change, be the spark